In this video, we continue making our dog breed application based on React. And so far, we made API call and got the data for this list of breeds in selector. And what else should our application do when we select any breed? This breed image component should go also to API, make API call and fetch the images and choose a random image for this particular selected breed. So in order to make it clear how it works, I'm gonna show you this video which represents the structure of our application. So our application contains select and image components, and somewhere in internet there is API where all the data is stored, and app.js makes API call to bring the data and displays this data as a list of breeds. So user can come and select one breed, and this information about selected breed will go to image component, and based on this information, image component will make API call and bring images for this breed and display a random image for this particular breed. So what we need to do now, we need to work with this breed image component, so it should know about the selected breed that we select here. So far it doesn't work, it doesn't know this information. Let's go to our select JS first and make our React know that here in this select view, make our React know that on change it should handle the change. And here underneath the component that we declare component, we can write const handle change and make it an arrow function. And let's pass here event. And what event we are talking about? It's our change. Change is the event. So we're gonna pass properties here on select, and we type event target value. We need to type event target value, but it's easy to understand why, because event means event that is happening, which means change. Target means the element that is triggering this event, so it's our breed, and the value is actual value that we select here, particular breed. So event is change, we change it to the breed. And what breed? This one or this one. And let's save, not here, let's save these changes in select.js, and let's go ahead to app.js to make some changes. First of all, our application doesn't know about the selected breed yet. We need to give this information in state. So selected breed by default it is not selected. By default, when we just open our application, let's reload it, we don't have anything selected. So this is not selected, it's just the first one because it's starting from A, but it's not selected. And when we select it, the state will be changed. So we mention in our state that selected breed is null, which means no information, it's not selected, nothing is selected. And then let's define a select handler before we actually render anything. Select handler. In select handler, we pass breed because we choose one breed, and it's an arrow function. And how we handle our select, we will change the state. So we type this because it's in this component, and we change state by set state. Then brackets, curly brackets inside, and selected breed will not be null anymore. It will be equal to breed that we select. And we need to pass this information into select component here, so our select component knows about it. So on select, we're gonna refer to this from this component method select handler. That's how we will handle this selection. And let's check now whether we get the selected breed upon selection. So let's put it in our console. This state selected breed. Let's check if our application knows about it. So this is our application. Let's inspect it and go to console. Right now it's null because nothing is selected. But if we go ahead and select something, yes, it gets this information that we selected this breed, or different breed, corgi. It displays corgi. Great. Then since it's working, we can go ahead to our breed image component and pass this information here. So breed image should know about selected breed, and breed image should know what image to display here. So this is the state of breed image. We're gonna set our state here. It's an object, and we will tell our application, our component breed image, about image URL. Let's name it like this, image URL. By default, as soon as we load the application, I would like it to have this default image. That's why I will give here this URL requirement. Our default image is in assets folder. This custom image. This custom image, and then selected breed. By default, nothing is selected. By default, nothing is selected. So our image right here, right now, doesn't have any source, but we can pass here the information about URL from state. This because it's in this component, state because it's in state, image URL. So we tell our image, look at this component, state, image URL. Whatever you see there in up-to-date state, display it. And that's what he does. He displays this custom image because nothing has changed yet. For now, the state is telling it that image URL is this one. We can set up again the function that will change the state. So in this function, we will fetch data from API and bring the random images. So after we declare the state, let's set up this fetch image function. It will be very similar to fetch all breeds list as we were doing for select component. So it will be very similar. We will use a Singleweight syntax. We will need here an arrow function, and we will again use const response equal, and we fetch the data from API call, but this time it will be different API call. We go to this website, it's in the description to the video, for API for dog breeds, and click by breed, and let's take this this URL to put it here, but instead of this particular breed, we will put here this variable, this props breed. And after images, let's put random, because we will choose random image from all the images that we get. And when we insert here this $, this props breed, it will work only if we use different type of quotes. Otherwise it cannot read it. So why do we use the same variables here? Response, the same as in select, we were using response and data. Not in ReactJS, we were using the same. When we were fetching all breeds, we used the same response and data. Can we use it again? Wouldn't it be confusing for React? No, because it's inside the component, and component keeps all this information inside, and other components cannot get access here unless we give this permission. So we can use again a similar syntax. Const response, we get this response, and then we need to fetch. I need one more bracket. Then we need to take this information and convert it into different format using JSON method. So we take our response and apply JSON method like this, and let's add our Singleweight syntax in order to make it possible to call this function asynchronously. So we add the word async before the arrow function. We add the word await before we fetch the data from this API call, and we type the word await before we apply JSON method, and that's how we make it asynchronous. And then we will tell our React application that image URL will be equal to data message, because what we get here when we are making this API call, you can check it by yourself, making it manually by yourself. So we get images, a lot of images, and if we put here random, we will get just one random image. So what is inside the image, inside the message there is this URL path, and right now we are assigning this variable image URL to this data message, to this URL. So we are ready to set state or change the state, because we got this image. So we need to change the state because there are only two ways in React how we can change the view or what is displayed in on your screen. There are two ways. One way when we change props, another way when we change state. Only these two ways make a React application to re-render and show us something different, something new. So we have this custom image and we would like to change it. That's why we need to change state. This set state, and if we used to have image URL, this custom image, right now we will have it equal to this constant image URL. In my case, the names are the same, but you can use different names, obviously, for this variable here, and for this variable here, you can use different names and then assign one to another. So we changed our state, and we have this state image URL here, so our image will know that it needs to take the URL always from the state. We can save it. We can see what we got so far. And it doesn't display anything. It doesn't show us anything. Why? Because we didn't mention the final thing. We need to call this function. We just set this function. We declared it, but we didn't call it, so nothing changed. And when we would like to call this function, remember there are life cycles in React, similar to human life cycles, when in the beginning the component is mounting, like born, appeared, and then it's changing, and in the end it's unmounting or dying. So when it's changing, and it's changed because it got different props or different state, the change in state, as we saw, when we select something, so the information changed. After that, we would like to call this method fetch image. That's why we put it inside component did update method. Component did update. And we tell that it needs, this function needs to work only in one case, if this, because it's in this component, props breed is not equal to this state selected breed. When it is not equal, when it changed, when user changed it, it was this one here in breed, but then we put another one, so it's not equal anymore. When it's not equal, what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the state, this set state, we're gonna change selected breed to this props breed. So it's the breed that comes from app.js. Remember in that video, the breed, the information about selected breed was going from select to app.js, and then from app.js it was going to breed image. So when it came as a new breed, our selected breed here in state will change. And at this time, we will call this method. We need to make our breed image component know about the selected breed, about the breed that we select here. That's why we pass here this information in app.js. To breed image component, we pass the breed, which is equal to this state, because it's in this component, state selected breed. That's how breed image component will know about this selected breed. And let's save it. And we can commit our change as fetch random images for selected breed, and push it on GitHub, and that's it. So now our application works properly. When we choose any breed, the information goes to image component, and it makes call to API and prints and displays this image of particular breed.